We start recording. Okay. All right, it's recording now. Three, two, one. Welcome back to my 10th level Paladin. This is the fifth recording we're doing of the show. I don't know why you're back, and I don't know why I'm here, but Mike Brodeur has joined us. And Mike and I did an episode of his podcast. So I agreed, since he, wasted my time on his show, that I'm going to waste his time on my show. So welcome, Mike.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, Jim. I have to tell you, I am a whore. So I wanted to definitely be on your show, not just to shamelessly plug my podcast, Why We Game, but also to hear the sound of my own voice. I come from a long line of narcissists and people with radio personalities and voices. So yeah, I'm stoked.
I've never met a self-aware narcissist, so that's fantastic that you admitted that. All the ones I've known have just been horrible people, and they refuse to understand that, and I'm not actually agreeing that you're a narcissist. I think you're just a gregarious person. But let's get into it. Let's talk about your favorite character.
So my favorite character ever is my wizard Dorian from 3.0 and 3.5 D&D. Now, there are so many things. The stars were right, if you will, in my creation of this character. I idolize my older brother. He's my hero in so many ways that I won't burden your audience with. But essentially, he not only was he my figure for what it meant to be a responsible, mature adult man, but I just idolized him, right? I wanted to do everything that he did, and he played D&D. If my brother played football, I would have played football, hockey, etc. Anyway, one day in college, we were adults, and we never really gamed together much as kids because we just didn't click in that fashion. But as we aged, we became really good friends. And my older brother and his college group were all getting back together. They were at a stage in life where most of my friends almost are, where their kids are old enough that they don't give a fuck what their parents think and don't want to hang out with them. So they're getting together this every couple months gaming weekend, and they're going to play Dungeons and Dragons, and they're calling it the reunion game. And my brother's going to run, and we're going to do this new 3.0 Dungeons and Dragons. And Mike, we want you to come play. And I'm almost 47, right? Imagine me in my 20s. I was a monster, as I'm sure. I was much louder. I was drunk all the time. I was like the gaming version of Jim Belushi, but not funny. And I was so excited that these guys were going to invite me to come play with them because, these are my idols. These are the people that I have built my gaming identity around, particularly my brother. And so I was stoked. I was excited about the new system because it was so different to me. And I know I don't want to start an edition wars thing because honestly, the 3.5ers, we're fucking savages, right? Like, we'll eat our own. And so we have no problem defacing literally and figuratively the enemies of the other editions. But anyway, it was so new and exciting, and it didn't have THAC0, and it wasn't antithetical, and all the numbers were positive, and everything made sense, and it was so big and heroic and cool and different. And I'm gonna play a wizard because I love wizards. In gaming, people want to be the thing that they are not, right? So right. I'm gonna play bards because if you want me, and forgive me, oh God, it's my co-producer, he's a cunt. Oh God, Jim, I didn't even think. Is it okay to use potty talk?
I have no idea. I think we've cussed before. We've never used the C word on the show before. So
it's the word in the English language. And
I know.
I know Louis C.K. is persona non grata, but he has this wonderful bit that I can't do. I won't do it any justice, but about how it's round and it's sharp and it cuts, but it's also a cudgel that you can just pommel someone with. It's a delicious word. It tastes good in the mouth.
I use it a bunch in private, right? I will never use it online because of just how much baggage is associated with the word, but I absolutely love it in private, right?
Oh, dude, they can at me, right?
Yeah.
They can at me. I am an unemployed house husband with a very reclusive wife who does well for herself. Come at. I got no kids. I got nothing. Come at me. But anyway, so 3.0, excuse me, was so different and new, and playing with these guys who I idolize. I just can't wait to do it. And I'm not an intellectual person. And what I mean by that is I'm not denigrating myself. I'm not saying I'm dumb. I am not a learned, educated individual. And for me, the thing, if I ever went to school, I would study etymology, right? Language, not entomology, but etymology.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fascinated by word, and I'm fascinated by wizards and the idea that a person can unlock the mysteries of the universe with words, right? Like it's nothing else but study and hard work and pouring after tome after tome. I mean, fuck, even the word grimoire means, difficult or challenging to understand. How fucking cool is that, right? So I'm going to play a wizard, and we're playing in the Forgotten Realms, which is the world of the time. And my brother's playing on the Moonshae Islands, right? Just to the west of Waterdeep, for those of you who are in the know. I mean, my geography is not going to be perfect, but we're playing on the Moonshae Isles, and my brother's friends are playing the descendants of previous characters, right? And depending on their race class combinations and their longevity, sometimes their original character was the grandparent or great grandparent of the person that they're playing now, or mom and dad, whatever. Which provided a wonderful continuity, and in my experience, the best campaigns visit upon the history of the previous games. But I know I'm rambling. Anyway, so I'm bringing a new character into this veteran group who all have this history, and I'm the outsider, right? But it was perfect because I'm going to play this chaotic good, sort of, bombastic, obsessive. I mean, a lot of me, but if I had, the 20 intelligence to be a wizard, right? That's what I'm going to play. And it was amazing because even though my brother had influenced my gaming career significantly up to that point, I had never seen his magic, right? I think every game master has an instrument that they play better than any other instrument. And for my brother, man, it was 3.0 and 3.5 D&D. I mean, it was magic.
Right.
And I'm seeing him excel in an area where he's superior anyway. It was amazing. But then I'm also watching the dynamic of this group of friends who have been friends for a very, very long time, since late high school, early college. And it was just remarkable to see how well they knew each other and the unspoken metagame at the table. And I coveted that so desperately, man. And I have held on to that spot because of those people in that time. Now, I know that doesn't tell you much about Dorian the Wizard so far, but I hope it gives some context to my enthusiasm.
Well, you're eliminating the need for questions, so at the very least.
I almost did a spit take. But yeah, so I just that it was all so magic, right? It was just so many things. I mean, it was the convergence of spheres, if you allow the Witcher paraphrase. But I loved the climb, right? One of the cool things about 3.5 that other editions of D&D had, and I think 4th edition and 5th edition have really made this a much easier thing to play at early levels. But at 3rd edition D&D, even though it wasn't as easy as starting a 4th edition or 5th edition low level wizard, it was still a lot better than doing a 1st or 2nd edition low level wizard. So like right out of the gate, I felt cool, right? And I was doing these neat things, and we're playing with all these feats, and splat books are coming out, right? And we're experimenting with all of this stuff. And the thing that my brother did, 2 lessons he taught me in this campaign, and I knew they were real and important lessons, but they didn't, they were more instinct or sort of a genetic memory or an echo in my head, right? Like I didn't quantify them. I didn't make them tangible until my brother really showed me that they were real. But the first thing is the world turns, right? There you have all of these plot threads and all these ideas and all of these exciting things going on in the game. There are only so many hours in the day for your character. And if we pursue plot thread A, B, C, it's not like when I play Witcher 3, where all of this other shit is on hold, right? Like I'm not a proper video game player. So the first time I played through that game, did I rush? Because I just assumed there was a time limit. Like I thought it was real world, right?
Right.
There wasn't. And so now I know, well, who cares about that? The frying pan that they stole from that old lady, she's going to be here forever, whatever. I'll come back tomorrow. But with role-playing games in this living world that they have, if you'll excuse the expression, it just continued to turn. So threads that we ignore, things that we forgot, things that we neglected, they just had impact on the world. But also, we would debate the rules because, we're not idiots, right? And some of us are kind of crunchy power gamer people, and we'll debate the rules. And my brother would always come down to, look, if this is how the table wants to adjudicate the rule, that is fine. But remember, I have more rangers than you do. I have more wizards than you do. I have more fighters than you do. Right. I have.
What a genius perspective. Go on. I love this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he's like, I just have more of it. So if this is the way we're going to do the thing, that's the way we're going to do the thing. But my brother also, and this is, again, a sort of a third thing that I'll illuminate that he taught me, is that the threats were real, right? Like it was a game that had resurrection, but did you suffer the full penalties for resurrection? So if it was a bullshit low level res and you had penalties for losing a level or however it did in that edition, suck it, you did, right? And if we couldn't get the spell components and the stuff to res your character, well, you just weren't coming back, right? And he didn't feel good or didn't feel bad about killing you because, here we are, we're the monsters, right? Like I'm literally coming to this creature's home, whatever creature it is. I'm kicking in its door while it sleeps. I'm killing its friends, its family, its mentor, its loved ones, and I'm taking its shit, and I'm feeling good about it, right?
Right.
So when the orcs come to my tower, and they have assassin rogues, and they sneak into the tower and they kill my best friend and they steal my most valuable stuff. And it is only me and my closest special lady friend who are able to get out of live because I have some contingencies prepared, right? That's not playing dirty. That's just playing real.
Right.
And it was remarkable, right? Like I didn't get that shit gaming for the first 10 years of my life, right? It was all just sort of wasted time. It was like fucking your first girlfriend. It was necessary, but it really wasn't worth anybody's time other than learning from your mistakes.
I want to add a layer to what you just said about playing it real and your characters being sort of the monsters of the story. I ran a D&D campaign for some people back in the day, and this one player, he was playing a rogue, he just assassinated this guy for no reason. This guy was just sitting there. He was an off-duty guard, right, having a smoke, and he just walked up behind him, stabbed him in the neck, killed him. And in my head, I said to myself, oh, okay, well, these characters are the focus of the story. They create the morality of the world. If this is okay, it's going to be okay for me to do the same thing. And so when the campaign was coming toward the end, his character just disappeared during a fire in the city. And at the end of the game, players said, where did he end up? Where is he? And I said, you don't know. I said, it's okay for you guys to just assassinate whoever you want. Maybe it's okay for me to do that too. And they got really, really mad. And we didn't actually play again. We didn't get to resolve it or find out what was going to happen because it was going to continue, right? They were going to be able to go sift through the ashes kind of thing and find out what happened to him. But
it's valuable lesson.
yeah. And I think that I don't necessarily think that it's cheating, as you've said. I think it's a reflection. If the PCs are all disgusting mercenaries, then that's a reflection of the world that they've grown up in. If you want to play heroes, and I will create a world or reactions that befit your heroism. And I'm really big on reactions and consequences, and I'm building a vampire role-playing game that does this reaction stuff quite well, deals with consequences. But I'm hogging the spotlight. Continue. Tell me more about the guy.
So the one of the things that we did with the early editions of 3 and 3.5, when you've got all the splat books and stuff, I mean, my brother was pretty smart and shrewd about what he restricted and what he would allow. And he is, and I'm not trying to be self-denigrating. He is a taller, more intelligent, more handsome version of me, who is also successful, who makes many figures and has a big house and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we're experimenting with, shaping spells and leaving squares out. And I've got all these meta magic feats, and we've got all my brother's buddies around. So we've got a table. Sometimes we're rocking 8 fucking guys at a table of, 11th, 12th, 13th level, 14th level Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 at that point characters, right? I mean, it was nuts. And we're just doing crazy, crazy stuff. I remember one thing, one particular encounter. So the whole campaign revolved around this black dragon, this beast of Malar, right? It was this great and ancient evil black dragon that had been brought back with some dark ritual, and it was this monstrous thing that had been created by Malar eons ago, whatever, to punish the elves of the southern islands of the Moonshade, yada, 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 right? All we need to know, lizard folk, cultists, love the dragon, kobolds everywhere that are, I guess they're not supposed to talk about this in gaming anymore with what happened with Paizo recently, but the kobolds were the slaves of the lizard folk, right?
Right.
Any which way. They're kobolds, so they have dragon blood, right? So they had many, many sorcerers. And fortunately for me, because, sometimes we got caught with our pants down. I mean, we really, really did. I mean, he didn't follow John Wick's advice of play dirty entirely, but he played shrewd and really, really smart. Anyway, we get ambushed in our hometown, right? It's not a 9/11 sort of thing, but the bad guys, our chickens have come home to roost, right? The bad guys are coming. And I remember, there's a lot of guys at the table. My brother can't keep track of every damn spell that my buddy's sorcerer cast, that his cleric cast, that your druid casts, and my wizard cast, right? But anyway, I do what I do because I'm, chaotic, good, and nutty, and I'm flying toward the encounter, right? We're super buffed up. I mean, this is, bad, really obnoxious. We've all that wind up D&D, right? Where every spellcaster's got that big key in the back, and the whole party is, helping them get them wound up so they can do all the buffs and everything. So anyway, like a rocket, I come flying toward the encounter. I'm gonna drop a lightning bolt on the lizard folk. You've got a bunch of archers, javelineers, blowguns, that kind of shit, right? I didn't see that all the ghillie suit commando kobold sorcerers were like a little anti-aircraft crew. I come ripping by. Motherfuckers hit me with, I'm not even kidding you, like 10 magic missiles. Right? Fortunately for me, I always have shield up. It's like one of the first things that I do. But how my brother described the repetition and percussion and just continuous cacophony of magic bolt after bolt after bolt hitting my shield and literally sending my wizard off course. Now, this is before you had a fly skill, right? So you don't have to make a fly check or whatever. But it was just amazing, right? There was one encounter where that's not Myth Dranor, because that's on the continent. Anyway, we're in this ancient place. Maybe it was Myth Dranor. Anyway, we're in this old elven city, and we get attacked by basically an anti-party of demons, right? So they've got a Glabrazoo and a Hezru and a Vrock and a Merilith, and they're all tricked out with magic items and spells, and it was I mean, it was like watching the Avengers, but in a fantasy realm, flying through the air, fighting the stuff. I remember I had the shape spell ability, and I cast Odaluke's Resilient Sphere on the Vrock, who fails his will save, and I make a check to ensure that, and this is dorky, I know, but I make a check to ensure that
this whole thing is dorky, Mike. Don't worry about
that
it.
the Odaluke's Resilient Sphere actually is in the shape of an egg, right? So it's trapped in this Odaluke's Resilient Sphere that I have shaped like an egg, and it's raging at us. I mean, it was just so over the top and ridiculous. And I hate to use the word epic because it's one of those things that people younger than me make me regret saying. But it was truly on that scale of Dungeons and Dragons epic. All right, I think I need a question.
So I think one of the things you haven't told us is what gravitate. Let me back up. I think Wizards is the only class worth playing in D&D. If you're not casting magic, why are you playing a fantasy game? And you can be a warlock or a sorcerer or whatever, but I think for me, it's the only class I ever want to play. Is somebody that
bold statement.
Is somebody that uses magic. So I love everything about your story, and I want to double down on it and say it has nothing to do with even intellect. It's just about doing something that nobody else in the world can do. Your complement of spells should be unique, and they should represent who your characters. I got to tell my story just for a second.
Please.
I made a character once who was both an archer and a sorcerer, and one of his combinations was arcane lock and archery, so that he could put barriers between himself and other people, right? So that it got harder. Say he's at the top of a tower or something, right? I'm hypothesizing a scenario, but his idea was, I'm going to buy myself some time. So all of his spells were about putting barriers between himself and the enemy so that he could be an archer just a little bit longer. Right. But the question that I want to ask, and I ask everybody, is what was it about this character that makes him your favorite other than just the situations? What did you grok about being this guy, once a month or once every 2 weeks or however long you were playing?
So because he was the most me on every level. And what I mean by that is he was me at my most impulsive.
Right, right.
He was me at my funniest. He was me at my wisest. He was me at my smartest. He was me at my most compassionate. He was me at my most angry.
Right, right.
I mean, it was really the first time where I got to, I mean, we all bring something to ourselves, but I got to play those things to their strengths and to their faults, and almost experiment with being me in a fake world.
Right.
But also it was fun as shit, right? Like, I could do things that I wouldn't do. I could act recklessly like I couldn't do. And even though other people at the table brought very special and unique things, I felt I felt different playing that character than any other character, not just for the aforementioned reason, but also it felt right. I felt like I was contributing and participating both in a role-playing way, but also in a mechanical way that I had never done before, but also that these other people at the table did not expect to see from me.
So I have never told this story. I'm going to tell it now. There's a certain code in which I have made characters for my Black Monk game. There's 6 games in the series right now, and there's a little bit of a hidden formula that goes on that I don't know if anybody's ever noticed. There's essentially different kinds of characters, the same different kinds of characters in every game in the series. There's the impulsive character, there's the victim, there's the workhorse, there's the angry one, there's the selfish one, and they wear different skins throughout these different games, but they share a common architecture or alchemy or pedigree. And so I have never told somebody once asked me, they said, well, which character are you in the Black Monk series? And I told them, but I've never said out loud which one I am. But I have an affinity when I am playing other kinds of games where I'm either the workhorse character or I am the impulsive character. And the hypocrisy of that is that when I'm game mastering, I punish the shit out of impulsive characters. But when I'm playing, I want to be the impulsive character sometimes because you want to see the cause and effect. And I have no problem with being punished for being impulsive, but I want, if I'm playing that kind of game and I'm sitting down, let's say we're playing, I was playing Cthulhu once at a convention, and I was playing the dumbest character there, and I just played it to the hilt, right? And he was making bad decisions and everything else. And I was doing it on purpose because I wanted to see how the membrane of the game would respond to these sort of stimuli of me being like that. And so I think there's something to be said for, this is me, but more impulsive. This is me at an 11. Stone Cold Steve Austin once said, my character in the WWE is me at an 11, right? But he himself is always at an 8. So you can't really see too much of that difference. And there's something to be said for doing that in a safe space where you and your friends are gaming and you can just be bombastic and you just let it fly. And in this case, you're telling me that your brother punished you for it in some ways because you're running through the sea of magic missiles because you didn't think it through. Yeah.
And it was absolutely amazing because I have the math wrong, I am certain, because I am confident that minimum damage would have killed me. It was that many magic missiles. So,
right.
Please forgive, I don't want to, the wank to tell me what an idiot I am. Anyway, but yeah, and everybody at the table knew it, right? Like everybody knew. Just here comes, he describes X number of magic missiles and the goblins and the camouflage and the whatever, and everybody at the table knows that I'm Grace, and I'm like, shield. Here's the other thing too. All right, and this is also true fucking story. Right, we're playing in that campaign, and this was my brother, because he's, like I said, he's very much like me. When we were in high school, he was dating this unbearably hot chick named Tina. He ended up marrying a different Tina, but the first Tina we called Hot Tina, and she couldn't tell our voices apart on the telephone, which was for me spank bank material. Anyway.
This is going to get cut.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So here's what I will say is that we're attacking this orc fortification, right? And the clerics of Malar have convinced this red dragon that lives in this mountain, volcano. We have to go. He, of course, has subjugated the fire giant clan that lives in the mountain, and thus the orcs that live in the surrounding area, and is using its powerful draconic might to pull all these orcs together, and we're the heroes, and we're going to go kick the shit out of the orcs and kill them, right? So we go up, and this is quintessential Dorian, right? So we go up, and the ranger rogue stealthy characters go and they kill the scouts, and the perimeter guards, they kill the guards at the gate, and we're like, okay, ready, we're all going to go in, and I just said, wait, guys, hold on. I didn't call them guys. I was like, blah, 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 folks, hold on a second. Let's stop. And they're like, what? I'm like, just please, if you would indulge me a moment. And I ask everybody to step back. I cast Cloud Kill at the front gate at the maximum distance that I can, minimum safe distance. And then I fucking gust of wind. And then I sit down and I open up a parcel and start eating bread, cheese. I get my wineskin, and they're like, what are we going to do? I'm like, we're going to have a leisurely lunch. Gentlemen, sit down. So we walk in, and, after I'm confident that the spell is expired and the orcs don't know what has happened. And of course, my brother being my brother, I knew, right? Like, and this is where the metagaming comes in, where it's shitty, but it's also fun. So, because I knew that we were going to do the heroic thing and cleave our way through waves and waves of orcs as, more powerful orcs are coming. And then there's the response teams and the characters, the guys with class levels, and all that shit's going to happen. And I was like, fuck that. We are dropping some poison gas up in here. So after poison gas and a leisurely lunch, we end up embroiled in a conflict that is kicking the fuck out of us. So we have to fall back into this area. We have to kill the orcs that are inside while holding the door against the orcs that are on the outside. And we finally have a moment to take a break, right? What in current D&D would be considered a short rest. And then there's a tingle of powerful summoning magic in the air, and a goddamn earth elemental comes under, through the stone, under the floor, starts kicking the shit out of the party. And this is like a big earth elemental, right? We're talking, plus 23, melee attacks, doing bullshit damage, what have you. So fortunately, scroll, banish the goddamn thing. I think it had a save at the time. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, there was great tension, and boom, it fails. I banish the thing, right? Right? Next goddamn round, the villain goes, summons another one, right? So another earth elemental comes in. This one bashes the door. Orcs start spilling through. We're fighting orcs, slashing away, trying to fight this beastly earth elemental. And yet again, boom, second scroll, banish. And my brother's like, fuck you. Bullshit. Pick up my character sheet. I turn it over. I hand it to him. And I just cross my fingers like this. And he's like, son of a bitch. So bloom, second earth elemental blasted away. Orcs are slain, right? Find our way. Well, I don't know what happened with the fire giants. We literally are able to circumvent the fire giants. We get to the dragon's chamber. It has to rout because we're so fucking monster. Fire giants then are like, oh god, they respond to the evacuating, to the routing red dragon. We kick the shit out of the fire giants and we loot. And man, it was just glorious. It was so much fun. But as much as those combat encounters were exciting, there was so much depth of character between the relationship of the familial relationships of the NPCs, the PCs, the bonds and friendships that we developed, how the party makeup would change when one or two players couldn't make it to a weekend. And we would play, we would show up on Thursday and we would drive home Sunday afternoon, right? We would all crash at my brother's house and play all weekend like we were kids. It was remarkable. So you get to see all the relationships change, how people develop different characters, and just how we all impacted my brother's world. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. It was, you know what it is? It was my favorite experience. It was my favorite character to play, but also it was my favorite role-playing experience to be a part of as a player.
Right. I think the two are generally intertwined, right? When your favorite character is usually hooked up with your favorite campaign or your favorite setting or your favorite events. I think the most memorable events, this is strange that you're saying this, because I think the most memorable events are when you fail really, really big, or when you just succeed really, really big, because those are the memories that stick with you. Because we've been playing 20 plus years. We've ground through so many different combats when it gets exhausting. You can't remember every single fight your character has ever been in, but you can remember something like that. And that's going to stick with you, and that's going to imprint that character. And you said something interesting too about the dynamic of who's there and who's not. I've enjoyed in the past running Vampire where the characters aren't necessarily in a party or in a coterie, right? Where they all just have their own agendas, and the games just run differently from session to session depending on who shows up. You have your agendas and you have your things going on. And I think that dynamic is utterly unique to role-playing games.
No, I agree. And that was a big part of, the Roger Zelazny Amber books. The Amber role-playing game was very much like that, right?
Yeah.
The people, and it was ahead of its time, because it's old by today's standards, and unique is that it is diceless and what have you. But any which way, that game was very similar in that you're a good game master, or Blades in the Dark, Band of Blades, etc. I mean, a good game master really can be very, very hands off with a group and let them do their own thing.
Right.
Yeah, we did not do that. We had a very structured. We had a very structured game in terms of what was available in the world, and the world was so well developed over so many decades of play, which is something that I personally have never done.
Right.
I've never run games like that. Any which way, it was wonderful though to explore.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, have you been in situations where you found more intimate campaigns interesting, where there's just 2 or 3 players and you're there every week? And you develop different kinds of bonds?
I don't know. My gaming background has, even though I have played for many, many years in a variety of different games, I've played with smaller groups, but 4 PCs is really where I find kind of the magic works for me.
Yeah, there's a certain dynamic that can happen when you have 4 PCs and a game master, right? Because then you've got 5 people, and that's a lot. That's really good. I mean, the best GM-less games, right, have 4 or 5 people at the table, and you've got different dynamics going on. You need those kind of vectors going on. But we did a campaign my buddy Mike ran for almost a year, where it was just 2 players, myself and Dave, and we were doing a Temple of Elemental Evil, in fact, and we did it by ourselves, right? He made us a little bit more powerful than we would have had, because you can't do it with just 2 characters. But the changes that we got to see, and the way that Dave and I bonded, our characters changed. It was a fascinating exploration that you can't do in the kind of thing that you're talking about. That's why I asked the question: is do you find those more intimate settings more to your liking, or even interesting?
I think that would be worthwhile to try. Honestly, I mean, I would love to do a Call of Cthulhu police procedural where it's 2 PCs and they're both government officials in some capacity, right? They're partners, a Scully Mulder sort of thing, where they're investigating, mythos terrors, right? I think that would be fun.
I did that in college with 3 players and myself as GM, where they were government officials looking for the unknown and trying to squash it so it didn't get into the public eye. That was their job, and they even had to pick the actors who were playing their characters. We ran it as a TV show.
I love that. I absolutely love it.
I do love the idea of a buddy cop, taking away the dumb humor that you usually see. Lethal Weapon 4, for instance, just the humor is so dumb. But if you can remove some of that and just focus on the police procedural and the buddy cop situation, I think there's something there for a Cthulhu game. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, because I would definitely be there was an old Todd McFarlane pair of cops from the Spawn comic called Sam and Twitch, and Sam was very much like a very vulgar version of Harvey Bullock. And that is definitely, the fat, like a guy who would sit you down, who could drink you under the table, who just reeked of cigarettes. Was the kind of fat fuck that still smokes cigarettes without filters. All he drinks is just scotch. He smells of garlic and sweat, right? And he would just tell you, he would sit down, and if he were elegant and not ugly and stinky, he could very eloquently explain to you why prostitutes, because hookers derogatory, why sex workers are doing God's work, and that you should really experience it. He's that kind of guy, is what he would do. Yeah, for sure.
You really need to go listen to the episode I did with Richard August, where he talks about his New York cop. He lives in England. Everybody who plays in the game is from England, and he plays a New York cop in their Call of Cthulhu game or Delta Green game or whatever it is.
Oh my God.
And he's every stereotype you can think of about a New York cop, and nobody at the table knows how to deal with him. Anyway, you should go back and listen to that episode.
I will absolutely, because I'll tell you. I mean, I did do some background research. I did do some listening here and there, but it was a lot of spot checking. Like, okay, how does the flow of the show go? Right. What are the questions like, sort of thing. But anyway, I'm definitely, even though I'm a Luddite, I'm also a mild cyberstalker.
Oh my gosh, maybe that's a good place to cut right there with people. That way people don't know what happens to me. Mike has just started cyberstalking me.
I'm yours honestly, Jim, I'm yours until you're finished. If I'm too much or you've got enough content, you tell me when you're a rat man, and I'm,
Yeah, no, I think that's a good spot to stop, regardless because of the time, because these aren't long episodes like your show. So that was great, Mike. I'm going to
Wonderful.
stop
Thank you so
recording right
much.
now.
I appreciate it. Yeah, let me know